There are things outside of your control, but you can choose who you go on that journey with. You can choose to invite people alongside of you in your life and be like, yo, be my friend. Come do this thing called life together. Although I don't recommend going up to people and asking them like that. It's kind of weird. So last week, Brandon talked about how God is our greatest journey that we could ever take, because knowing God is an adventure, not a formula. Brandon also said that spending time together or time with God is an important part of that adventure, because you can't grow in a relationship with someone if you never spend time with them. So Brandon and I, like, we're married, but that's not like it. We don't get married and then just stay there. We get married and then we spend time together. We go on vacations together. We talk at dinner time. Like, we do all that cool stuff, because if we got married and then that was it, we'd probably end up like divorced, or we wouldn't even know who each other was.
That's too bad.
That'd be really weird. Like, why would you marry someone and then never spend time with them?
I mean,
you still have to work on that relationship.
But maybe you have other things to do. True.
Yo, Ninja did that.
So for the next few weeks, we're going to kind of break down 3 more ways that we can grow in that relationship with God, whether it be spending time with Him, which was our set from last week. Because if we want to make it on this journey of knowing Christ and allowing Him to be an important person in our lives, we need to think about the people that we're doing it with. Because other people have the power to impact your faith. And whether you're still learning about that, that's totally cool. Because again, we're just excited you're here. But my question for you guys now is, can you choose your relationships?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. Because I know that I said that you can choose the people you journey with, but maybe you disagree with that. Maybe you're thinking, I did not choose my family.
Well,
I didn't choose where I go to school. Like, we just moved, and that's the district our house is in, so that's where I go, even though all of my friends go to a different school. Maybe you're not super fond of the other kids in your neighborhood, but they're there, so that's who you hang out with, because your parents don't drive you places, so you're kind of just stuck with the people in your neighborhood, even though you really don't like them that much. Maybe you don't feel like you have a friend that you can count on, let alone several to choose from. Maybe if you had a choice, you would choose differently, okay? Because especially at your age, there is only so much you guys can control in your life and your relationships, and we understand why you might feel powerless to control or choose the people in your life, because a lot of times, especially for as young as you guys are, you're kind of just there. You can't be like, oh, I hate this school, I'm going to go to a different one. You can't just do that, and sometimes that sucks. You can't make your perfect friend appear out of thin air. You can't snap your fingers and make a super awesome family all by yourself. You can't get new classmates, neighbors, teammates if they suck. But there is something you can do. You can choose to invest in a few great relationships. Those kind of relationships that will help you move forward on your journey and to help you learn more about God. So which relationships do you focus on? Because sometimes they might not be the ones that you would think like you need to spend a lot of time into. So there's a really famous proverb that typically comes up when people talk about this topic of conversation. And a proverb is a short, wise saying, kind of like a fortune cookie. They're short and to the point. And the Bible contains an entire book of them called Proverbs. If you want to do some light reading, I highly recommend Proverbs. They got a lot of fun ones. So in Proverbs 12:26 it says this: "The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray." And then if you jump to chapter 13:20, it says this: "Become wise by walking with the wise. Hang out with fools and watch your life fall to pieces." I mean, that's like solid advice, right? Like hang out with idiots and you're gonna turn into an idiot. Like, pretty basic and self-explanatory, right?
Yes.
And you guys have probably also heard it said this way. I know Brandon has said it, so if you guys pay it all attention to Brandon, I know you've heard this at least once, probably. So show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
That's what Brandon told me one day.
Or who you spend time with is who you become. So these pieces of wisdom are so well known because they're true, okay? Like someone just didn't decide that it sounded like a really awesome Hallmark greeting and throw it out there for the world to hear. Like that is solid, sound advice. And we know that it's true because it's given to us in scripture. Maybe sometimes in a worded way. I found different versions than what's in here because I liked the wording better. So we become like the people we surround ourselves with, and you have to decide, like, what do you desire? What kind of person do you wish to become? And who do you need to surround yourself with to get there? Like, if you want to become an idiot, find yourself a great, jolly bunch of idiots, and I can guarantee that that's where you're going to go.
That's
But because I can personally think of two very specific people in my life that have influenced the direction of my life. One was for the better, one was not. Okay? I know some of you guys have heard one of the stories about one of my previous boyfriends who was super shady, not a nice guy. He was really kind of a jerk, and ex-boyfriend Carter. But it was in that relationship that I pushed so many boundaries that it was like I had my shovel and I just kept digging myself a hole, and I just kept getting lower and lower and lower, because instead of him helping lift me up, he kind of just stuffed me down. Yeah, he was just like, I'm on a path to nowhere and I'm going to take you with me. And I was like, no, I'll pass. So I met my main man Brandon there. You guys know Brandon, right? He's known.
Yeah.
What's up,
He's the complete opposite of this other guy, okay? Instead of tearing me down, he helps build me up. Kind of like what he does with you guys, just in a different way, because that's weird. And y'all were married to him, too. So it was with Brandon, though, that I realized that I was going nowhere with who I was hanging out with prior to him, and that nowhere wasn't where I wanted to be. I mean, think about it. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun. So Brandon took his chance on me, and it was that chance that Jesus also took on countless people also in the Bible. Because Jesus spent a lot of time with people who didn't believe in him, and there were a lot of people who physically followed Jesus around, but he had decided to actually follow him with their lives. Jesus was super well known for, drop your stuff, let's go. And they'd be like, okay. But he had some people that weren't 100%. So if Brandon was correct, in Mark chapter 2, it's page 600 in the Bibles. So in Mark chapter 2, 13 through 17, it says this. Then Jesus went out to the lake shore again and taught the crowds that were coming into him. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at his tax collector's booth. Follow me and be my disciple, Jesus said to him. So Levi got up and followed him. Later, Levi invited Jesus and his disciples to his home as dinner guests, along with many tax collectors and other disreputable sinners. There were many people of this kind among Jesus' followers. But when the teachers of religious law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with tax collectors and other sinners, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with such scum?" When Jesus heard this, he told them, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do. I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners." It's like, hey, Jesus, like over there, mic dropping, or whatever they would use to project their voices back then. So Jesus was constantly spending time with sinners and people who made their religious leaders angry, and he tells us to do the same. Jesus didn't just randomly show up to dinner with this group of people by accident. His relationships with them were a choice. He sought them out on purpose, and he tells us to do the same. He walked up to Levi on purpose and told him to follow him. That was Jesus' choice. He could have walked right by Levi and been like, I'm not feeling you and you're random bunch of sinners today. I'm going to go find someone else. He sought him out. He was like, Levi, come with me. Coming over for dinner. Because remember, your relationships are a choice. They're not an accident. You're a byproduct of your environment, but you can do something about it. If you've got that friend that's not really a friend, maybe you got to do some reevaluating, and that's okay. So I will pray, and then we can go into all of our other fun stuff, game announcements.